Okay, quick housekeeping. Let's mute our microphones. There'll be time for question and answer, but feel free as the questions come up, drop them in the chat. I would go through the chat at the end of the session and try to address all the questions. And please, let's be respectful and engaging in the chat as well. We would have opportunities to interact as we go along. And my goal here is to not keep you beyond 1 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to hit that mark. So let's continue here today. Quick question before we get started. I'm curious to know how many of us actually use AI for research. Which tools do you really use? Which tool of these consumer tools do you use for AI research? I have a poll here which I'm going to launch. Feel free to pick it. I've launched the poll. Tick the one you are very familiar with because I have a couple of them here. Not sure we'll get to do research on all of them. I hope you can see the poll. The poll is live. Tick the one that applies to you. Which one do you use? We have a very diverse audience here, and I don't have a majority. I use all three. Okay. Interesting. Gemini. Okay, I'm going to vote as well. I use Gemini a whole lot for my own research. I'm going to end this poll in about 10 seconds. So please, if you're having problems finding the poll, let me know. But you should find it on the lower right side of your screen. Okay, I think so far a lot of people use ChatGPT. I'm a Gemini person. Maybe the next question would be, how do you use this? Do you even know there's a deep research functionality, not just a regular chat? I'll be introducing myself today. My name is Oge. Some people already know me and they are part of our business analysis community. For those that are meeting me for the first time, my name is Oge. I'm a business analysis and more recently AI deployment consultant. I've done technology, business transformation for over 15 years. I'm also an associate professor at Lambton College here in Ottawa. I'm the founder of Pollard Learning. And what we do here is to help professionals that are looking to pivot into business analysis or change management, leveraging their transferable skills. So we've designed programs and curriculums that help enable this process. I'm proud to say that I've been able to help a number of people do this successfully. I personally lead the business analysis program. We have colleagues that lead the change management program. And I don't do this alone. I had the vision, but I've not delivered it alone. I've had awesome colleagues and even students that I've trained that are doing so well have also joined the faculty. I'm honored to be here today to show you how I use AI to do research, and I hope you'll find this time very valuable. Thanks for joining us. Oh, thanks, Terry. I forgot to ask about Copilot. Yeah, because I don't really use it for research yet. Thanks for chiming in on that. Let's talk about AI research. How many of us here are business analysts? I've noticed some people on the call have maybe project management background. I'm curious to ask if you are a business analyst or your work involves some form of research, like before ChatGPT, how would you typically do research? Feel free to type in the chat. Feel free to share your views in the chat. I would look at it and read it out. While I'm waiting to hear from you in the chat or read from you, Google, thank you. Google, YouTube, I totally agree. Lots of Googling, watching some YouTube videos of conferences and presentation. Yes, Google search. And maybe that's why I still prefer to use Google Gemini, because Google has lots and lots of resources. And Gemini has easy access to these resources and uses it to do very good research. Yeah, blogs as well. But most times for me to get to those blogs or maybe those reports, Google would have to lead me to those points. So let me quickly share. Okay, my slide is not cooperating with me right now. Let's see. So I will share two experiences, and I'm sharing this from my business analysis background. So a lot of the work I do involves research. For example, maybe we are starting a new project, we're writing a business case. We do what we call discovery, because sometimes we don't just jump into solving the problem. We need to understand the problem we're trying to solve. What are the solution options? So we tend to do a lot of discovery. And so one time I was working on the project where I was supporting a higher education organization to identify a campus housing technology. They had hostels and accommodation, which students would typically rent at the beginning of the school year, and they will take in applications, allocate room, manage conflicts, do inspections. They were using Microsoft Forms and Excel to manage. So part of my work was to work with them to document a business case and identify and shortlist some potential campus housing solutions out there. That was the first time I would even work in that realm. I know there were tools for managing housing complexes, like companies that have big rental apartments and shopping malls. They use some sort of software to manage this, but I had not thought of it from a campus management point of view, and it involved a lot of research. Another time was when this client, again, they were also in the education space. They were trying to buy an identity and access management system for the college. And we know identity and access management, it's quite broad. And the way you do identity and access management for a bank is different from how you do it for retail, like Walmart or Costco, or for education. There were lots of research we had to do. And I had to use Google. And you know what that meant? For months, you have multiple tabs open on your system. You would never shut down your system. You can't restart your system because you are doing one research that never ends. However, since I started using AI, when ChatGPT came out late 2022, I was very curious about AI. I still have a training I paid for last week. I didn't attend, but I'm catching up this weekend. That's how interested I am with AI, and I try to learn, improve, because the technology keeps evolving. So I started using AI for research, and for everything I wanted to ask myself, how can I use AI to accelerate this? So one of them was doing research. I'm still a business analyst. I do consulting. I do different things, and it involves research. You want to learn something, you want to find something. But then, of course, I learned how to use ChatGPT, but my first attempts were disappointing because I was getting generic output, and I was like, even Google search is better than this. But I was missing something I didn't know. I almost gave up until I realized the tool is not the problem. The way I was prompting AI, one, was the problem. And so part of what I did was come up with a framework on how to get the best value out of AI. And I'll share that with you. But again, later on, ChatGPT and all these other consumer tools, they evolved, right? And then they started coming up with different features. And part of it was the deep research feature. And that was when my research really took the next level. Right now, anything I think about, I want to compare, I want to buy, I want to make a purchase, and I just want to do a comparison to know what's in the market. I use the deep research feature. Quick question before I talk about this. There's no poll for this. How many of you know there is a deep research feature on your consumer AI tool? How many people on this call? Apart from generic prompting, your regular interface. If you do, you can just put a 1 in the chat. If you don't know there is a deep research feature, you can put a 2. Okay, Azuka, thank you. Just put a 1 in the chat. 1. All right. Oh, Odi, okay, good. Are you referring to the paid version? I think you would need a paid version to have it, but I'm not referring to the paid version. There's a feature on ChatGPT, on Gemini, on Claude, Perplexity. It's called Deep Research. Okay, we're going to talk about it for those that don't know. When I started doing research, yes, I was researching with the regular chat mode, right? The regular way you use ChatGPT, whether it's your free version or your paid version, I was using it. And AI, when you use it for your regular research and you do good prompting, that is fine. AI answers from its training data, right? Fast, but it can be limited to what it knows. It may not browse the web unless you really tell it to. And however, the deep research feature is different, and it helps you, I've had someone say it helps you do PhD level research. So it goes into the web, it reads multiple sources and returns, and it can take time. Like, it takes time to do its research. It doesn't give you an instant response like the regular chat mode would give you. And it could take 20 minutes or more. Sometimes I've seen it use more than 20 minutes, depending on how I wanted the research to go. So it comes back with a more comprehensive report. I'm going to skip this poll for now because I've asked a similar question. But where do you find this deep research feature? So ChatGPT has it, Gemini does, Storm does have, Grok also does have. And I'll quickly just show that up here before we continue. For those that do not know, how do you access it? So on my screen here, I'm showing you ChatGPT because I think it's still the most popular consumer AI tool out there. So if you want to access the deep research feature, all you simply need to do if you're on the paid version. Now, I can't say for sure it's available on the free version, but on the paid version, you click this plus sign here and it brings you down here. So when you want to do deep research, you need to activate this and then put in your prompt. We'll get to the prompt later. So I see your question again. I don't know, unless someone else can help me. I should have checked for this before, but I really don't know the answer. If you are using a free version of ChatGPT, do you have access to deep research? Do you have access to this? I have a paid version, so I can't answer if it's not available. I don't have that answer right now. So for ChatGPT, this is how you activate it. I would show you how you do it, and then we'll move on here. Sorry, let me just close my emails. I have Claude here. If you use Claude, how do you activate the deep research feature? Just click on this button down here. You activate it this way, and then you can continue with your search. So make sure it's research mode, then put in your prompt and allow it to do the heavy lifting. The next one I'll show you here is Google Gemini. I open a new window here, and then come down here to tools here. You see the deep research. It will be hard to miss for any of the tools, deep research. And then I love using this model when I use Google Gemini for research. Perplexity is the last one I have here to show you, but I'm sure Grok does have this tool. Storm has it, so check it out. Storm is a free AI tool, so you may want to check that out, and it does research as well. So for Perplexity, the same thing here. Just come in here, activate deep research. That's how it works. Okay, so these are the ones I actively subscribe for. So these are the ones I can show you today. But let's continue with our presentation. And I'll move a bit faster because I really want us to finish on time here. I hope that helps for anyone that has no use of this deep research tool. Yes, it's free but limited. Okay, thanks, Deepa. Thanks for helping out there. Okay, so now you have deep research feature on your consumer AI tool, but another problem is if you don't know how to prompt it right. So as a business analyst, you do lots of research and you want to also use AI to speed up your work. Then I would Google what are the best housing to remember I was doing a project where I was trying to find campus housing tool out there for my client I was working with. Initially I was getting generic results. And then when I learned how to prompt or how best to interact with these AI tools, large language models, because they don't understand plain English that way. So you need to know there's a structure. I covered that in the class we did last year, so I'm not going to skip it. But I applied the same principle of writing prompts, and I came up with a framework I call the focus prompting framework, which helps me create specific outputs tailored to my project, and it cites and gives me a structured output. So the focus framework here, this is what I came up with. Of course, please feel free to use it. If you notice any improvements, feel free to reach out and I can continue to build this. This I built to help me in my work and I'm going to share with you as well. Built for business analysts, but one thing I know, a project manager can use this, a change manager can use it. As long as you know how to tweak the prompt and how to interact with AI, it would always find a way to give you your answer. First of all, you have to frame the context. These are based on prompt engineering principle and it helps ground the AI in a specific business situation. When I was working on this campus housing solution, I was doing multiple research. For example, I wanted to identify the campus housing technology solutions out there. I was also looking for colleges that were using these tools. These were different research topics. Do one research per time. Whenever you're working with AI, focus on one item per time. Don't try to do multiple things at a time. This focuses on giving it context, what you are doing, what your project is all about, describe the problem you're trying to solve and all of that. And then the next one talks about the output and deliverable. Remember that whenever we do research, we want to summarize, get insights or report we want to use maybe for business case or for executive reporting or presentation we want to do. So when I'm also doing this research, when I want AI to help me, I want it to go as far as possible. If we have a standard template within the organization that I work for, I would use it. This is how I want you to give me the output so that I can pick it up, refine it, and I'm closer to my end goal. It gives me output in a format I don't want. So I define my output ahead and I tell it how I want it to be. If it's a report outline, I think of that outline and I tell it ahead of time. The C stands for constraint and scope. So you want to set boundary and make your research more specific. For example, when I was doing that, I was interested in knowing the tool that I use within North America. No, I wasn't interested in campus housing solution used in the UK or in Africa or in Australia. So I also had to define that context. And I provided and I gave it all the information I needed, but restraining it so that my research is focused and targeted. Another thing I've included here is depending on the kind of research you are doing and there's a framework you want to use, you can also tell it and it would apply that framework. When I was researching for those tools, I wanted it to identify and list some tools and tell me the strengths and weaknesses of those tools. So one of the framework it could use was the SWOT framework, right? Depending what framework applies to the research you are doing or the work you are doing, you can tell it and it understands it and you would apply it in your research. I was also interested in the sources because after AI gives me the output, I need to review and verify for myself. For every information it was given to me, I wanted it to include links and citations so that I can go verify, refine, review, and accept what I need to accept. So again, to wrap up the framework, the first F stands for you frame the context, or define the output and deliverable the way you want AI to give it back to you. C is where you define the constraint and scope the work you want it to do per time. Always focus on one task per time. Try not to do multiple things per time. Use case, if there's any framework you want it to apply, specify it. And then always remind it to provide you with the sources where it's getting its information from. Before we continue, I just quickly want to tell you about one of our programs. If you are looking to get practical experience, you are looking to pivot into business analysis, looking for a job readiness training, that is our core area of strength. And our next class is starting April 25th, 2026. So next month is almost here. If it's what you're interested in, please do reach out. It's a 10-week program and it's very practical oriented. We are working on a property management system in the next class. So if it's something you're interested or you know someone looking to get practical experience and they've been getting interviews and not making so much progress because they only have head knowledge, please share this with them. We also have our CBAB certification exam preparation training, which is ongoing right now. And what we are doing, we're also throwing it in. So anyone that signs up for our business analysis career development program gets this training for free. And the good thing about this is that we've taken the BABOK and created videos and summary slides out of it. So if you don't like reading the BABOK or that's what has hindered you getting your CBAB certification, please look no further, reach out, and we can help you solve that problem with question banks, flashcards, and to support your learning. Okay, back to what we are talking about. I'm going to demonstrate what I've showed you so far, the focus framework, and I'm going to apply it to one of the examples I shared earlier. So the university client needed housing management technology built for higher education, and we had to do the research. But before I do that, I'll show you what I will use to do it just very quickly. So I built out a custom GPT. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, but it's just a ChatGPT that is customized to help do this research, to automate the research process for me. And all I need to do is to tell Felix what research I need to do. Please, if you have any questions regarding the training, drop it in the chat. We will take it after the presentation. Remember, we're working on this case study. We want to do the research practically here, and then you can ask me questions. I've taken that framework and I've put it into a custom GPT. If you use Google Gemini, maybe you are familiar with Google Gems or Claude projects, similar concept. So how does it work? All you need to do is open up Felix, tell it what you need to do. It would ask you some questions based on the focus framework. Felix's job is to help you build a prompt for your deep research. Felix will not do the deep research for you. I built it because I had that challenge of always writing a prompt from scratch. It was a lot of work for me, depending on the kind of research I wanted to do. So what Felix does is to interview me, ask me questions, and it builds a prompt. All I need to do is to copy that prompt and paste it in ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Claude, whatever, and it will go on and do the research. So I have taken away the problem of not knowing how to write prompts with Felix and also doing AI research with deep research even faster. So nothing is stopping me. I'm going to share that with you on this call today. So the first thing, let me quickly start here. Tell Felix the research you need to do. It will ask you questions based on the focus framework. Remember, that's the framework for writing prompts to do your deep research. And then Felix will build your prompt out for you. All you need to then do is copy the prompt and paste it into your deep research. So go drink water, go drink tea, and come back to get your report, review it, refine it before you use it. And if you don't have a custom GPT, I have a solution for you. Let's quickly look at Felix here. I'll show you here, and we're going to use Felix to do the work. Now, so let me do a quick recap before I continue. There are two steps to what I do. The first step is to build a prompt for my deep research. So I will use Felix to build my prompt. I will then copy my prompt and then paste it here, activate the deep research, and you go ahead and do the research. Any questions? I want to make sure we're all on the same page before I continue down here. Let me quickly grab Felix. You'll see how I interact with it. I'm going to share a link to Felix, so please just hang on. Let me quickly check the chat. Any questions so far? Okay, no questions. I have lots of deep research too here, so I'm just going to be sure I'm using the right one. And one feature I love using a lot is the dictate feature because I'm too busy typing. So I'm going to interact with Felix, and I don't need to speak prompt language. And I'm going to just speak natural language, interact with Felix, tell you what I want to do, and it would give me my prompts. Listen, drop in your questions in the chat if you have them. I would explain once I'm done here. Okay, I'm working with a higher education organization, and they are looking to buy a campus housing technology. Currently, they have accommodations they lease out to students for a period of time during the session, and they do this all manually. I need you to help me build out a prompt to do this research. Okay, so I dictate, it types it out, I just click. One thing I tell people when you use custom GPTs, it's an interaction, it talks to you, you talk to it. Please take time and read the output and follow the direction. I need to guide through a few quick questions so we can come up with something precise and stakeholder ready. So it's going to ask me questions based on the focus framework. So let's start with the phase one frame. Remember, it's going to ask me questions based on the framework for doing this research, and I'll give it to it and it will build out my entire prompt. You're doing technology and tool research. I'm working with a higher education. They are looking to purchase and implement a housing technology tool. Lots of inefficiencies. The process cycle time, it's long because applications is managed using Google Form on the website of the college, and it's error prone. There are lots of reconciliation issues. So not only for housing, I remember the team mentioned they also rent out those spaces for conferences and short-term stays during vacation. The housing operation team stakeholder, the finance team is also a stakeholder because they need to collect payment and there's a payment processing involved. Then there's also the facility team involved in this process. Higher education within North America, I'm just interested in the tool used within the colleges and universities in North America. So all the information I'm providing to it is based on what I've learned from my stakeholders interaction, right? So again, the same way we do regular research, but here is helping. So CAI as that junior analyst that you are giving information to help you do extra work while you do more strategic work. Okay, so it's moving on to the next one. Let's move output and deliverables. Okay, what deliverables? I'm working on a business case. I do have an outline for the business case, but I'm curious to know if you have an outline to suggest to me. We're still at the discovery phase of the project. Let me see the outline you have. If you have any suggestion, I do have one I can also grab and paste in the chat here. Output format. I needed to do a comparison and it has to be a structured report. Depth. Let's have a deep dive and then we can also have like a summary, an executive summary. And yeah, all the links, citations, I need them included as well so that I can dig in there and verify all the information you are sharing. Okay, so one thing that I prompted it to suggest any outline. So I'm going to assume this is the outline I need and I'll say yes and we'll move on. What will be the next question for phase 3? Okay. Yes, so North America, colleges. I want to know the tools that are popularly used in North American colleges and university. Constraint. Right now, we don't have a budget range. Let's know what is available in the market. Existing systems they must integrate with. So we currently use an ERP system. We use Oracle student management system. So we need it to be integratable to it. But even though we know we're migrating to a cloud-based campus management system. Let's see what is the market and what they can integrate with. It says, perfect. Before I generate the quick confirmation, this is keeping it here, summary of the information. It's going to generate my prompt for me. So let's see if this looks all right. Here's your few brief. So this is my prompt here, your focus, your role. And all I need to do is to just copy this prompt and then we'll go to the next part. It's still bringing out my prompt. You notice that this is very lengthy. I wouldn't sit down and come up with this because I want my research to be focused. So sitting down to come up with all this amount of length and information would be a whole, in 1 week, I'm not even done putting together my prompt. So why don't I use AI to write my prompt and get on with my research? And that is exactly what I've done. So the next step now is what do you do next? Paste this into ChatGPT deep research mode or Gemini, Claude. I recommend deep research with reasoning model. Okay. Yeah, he's recommending himself, but all I need to do, okay, so this is my prompt here. I'll just copy it from here. I'm stopping here. Okay. I'll copy this. So step 1 is done. Step 2 now, we're moving to do the actual research. Step 1 was building out our prompt because the best way to interact with AI is having a structured prompt. Felix helped us. Next phase is doing the actual research. I'll open a new chat here. I'll open a new chat window, enable my deep research feature down here, click on paste, and that's all. My research will go up here. I told it to ask me a clarifying question, very important. If it has any other question, it would ask me. Otherwise, I would initiate the research here. Let's do the same for, this is Perplexity here. I'm just going to paste, hit enter. Okay, now I don't know. Okay, let me quickly move to Google here. I paste on Google. And yeah, Google will do a quick plan of how you will do the research and it will ask me to confirm it. So it's coming up with the research plan. But we've told ChatGPT to go ahead. I just want to show you how to use this on various tools very quickly. So while Google is ready, so it quickly came up with a plan. I could review this plan, and if I'm not keen, I can tell it, and it's already identifying some of them, which I'm familiar with because of the project. So I'll tell it to start the research. And let's also go over to Claude and paste our research. I hope Claude will not tell me that it's timed out. That's simply how you do it. Okay, here. This is for Perplexity. So it will tell you, do you want it a short version or you want it to do a deep dive? So basically, that's how I would do. And this might take, depending on how the research will go, it will take some time. Let's see what ChatGPT is doing here so far. Research completed in less than 1 minute. Okay, awesome. So the next step would then be to download and review. I have to actually review and refine, but others are still ongoing, so we'll come back and look at this. But let's say, for example, you don't use custom GPTs because the custom GPT I showed you, Felix, is built on ChatGPT. Let's say a lot of people are quitting ChatGPT, but I'm still retaining my account for now. You don't use ChatGPT. In the workplace, not very many organizations use the enterprise version of ChatGPT. Most people I know use Copilot. So what can you, if you don't have a custom GPT, there's no problem. What I've also done is to build a prompt, and all you need to do is to copy the prompt, paste it in Copilot or Claude or Gemini, whatever, and it would ask you the same question. It would do the same interaction with you. And it would ask you the questions. Once you give it all the answers, it will generate your giant prompt. You copy it and paste in your deep research tool. I'll answer your question later, but let me show you that focus framework, which you are also getting. This is how I will share a link very shortly with all of this. I put together a quick document that quickly explains it for you, for anyone that may miss this class and find it. and what each of them means and all of that. You have the prompt down here. Copy this prompt. I'll copy the prompt here. I'll use Copilot. Let me open Copilot. So let's say you want to do this in the office and you are not allowed to use ChatGPT. All you need to do is to paste this prompt that I copied from this document, which I'm going to share with you. And basically, what do I have in the prompt? You're an expert business analyst research assistant trained to help business analysts build a structured, deep research prompt using the focus framework. Your job is not to do the research. Your job is to ask the right questions, collect information, and build out a prompt. And I've also given it instruction, what to do, how to go about it. So let's give it a try here and see how it works. Don't worry, I'm sharing this. How do you create Felix? I did a master class some time ago. I think it's available. You can purchase it. Building custom GPTs is another kettle of fish, but maybe we could talk about it. If there is demand for it, we could do a master class on that. Let's focus here. Great to meet you, Gay. I'm your business analyst. My only job here is to help you design a powerful, fully structured deep research prompt using the focus framework. I won't do the research myself. Okay, thank you. He's asking me the questions already. Remember, that was how Felix did. Felix asked me the questions. So let me answer the same way. I won't answer all of them, but I'm just showing you how it works. Now, Copilot, I'm not very familiar with you, so be nice. I need to go back to the question. The question was, what type of research are you doing? What business analysis problem are you working on? I'm working on a campus housing technology identification and selection project. I'm looking to identify campus housing solutions used by higher educations across North America. I'm working with a college and they are looking to digitize their campus housing processes. They currently do it all manual. It's all a manual process, end to end. That's what my research is all about. That's what's going on here on the voice mode, and it's asking me questions. I can hear the question. I'm sure you can't hear, but I'm responding to the question and providing it input. Let me do this very quickly and let's see what the outcome is. Okay, so the stakeholders are from the campus housing team. We have the finance team. We also have people from the facility management team. These all have a role to play in the business process. We need it to be integrated to the current ERP system. The colleges use the Oracle Student Information Management System. However, in the future, I know they are considering right now looking to move to a cloud-based system. So have this in mind as you do the search. We need to see tools and what they are able to integrate with. A business case. And for the constraint, let's focus on North America. What are schools, universities, and colleges in North America using? Let that be our scope and constraint. Mhm. What other question do you have very quickly? Or just give me the prompt. You can go ahead and put together the prompt to continue with my research. You don't have to read it to me. Just give it to me and I'll copy and paste it. Thank you. Okay, so here's the full prompt. I'm not really satisfied with Copilot, but this is it though. It did give me, I'll keep it concise here, make it more detailed. But I know I would get a better result on Claude or Gemini. Okay, Yeah, it's giving me more detailed. So basically, you notice what I was able to do with my custom GPT, Felix. You can do this with the prompt. So let me just copy this and put it in the chat. And I will take questions now, while I would also open the deep research tools. I'll copy and paste the output so that you get to see what it looks like. So this is my prompt from Copilot. So based on my interaction, I gave it information and generated. All I need to do is even now it's even suggesting. Remember I didn't even tell you where to go look. I could have also told it maybe look at Gartner, look for EDUCAUSE is one like a consortium these colleges and universities do. So all I need to do here, copy it, paste in my deep research tool. But let me quickly share this and I will take your questions right away. So there are lots of links I'll be posting in the chat. So the first one is the custom GPT. The second one is the document I just shared with you that had the focus framework and the giant prompt you can copy and paste into any AI tool. Use it. Also, due to time constraint, you did not ask Copilot to use Terry. His Copilot is not doing the deep research for me. Remember my giant prompt I pasted in Copilot had that information already, told it, and you remember at the beginning said, I'm not supposed to do research for you. I'm only supposed to help you write a prompt that you would use for a deep research. Terry, I hope I answered your question when we started. When I pasted the giant prompt here, it says, I'm your business research. My only job is to help you design a powerful, fully structured, deep research prompt. It wasn't really a question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Terry.
No, no, I was just saying as you prompted that, even though you were not asking it to do the deep research, it may have helped go into the focus step by step for you a little deeper by looking in more areas if you had done that.
Terry is very correct. If I were to do this, I would take my time, interact with it, ask, give it all the information. It would ask me questions. As much information as I have available, I would provide to it because the more context and details you give your AI, razor sharp to get the work done. Okay, I'm open to taking any questions. Please, how did you build Felix GPT? Okay, that's a scope for another class. If you're interested, you can send us an email. We do have the replays from the masterclass we did last year, November, I remember. And we showed how to build custom GPTs. So we can share that with you. So the same for Lashade, I think that also answers your question as well. Okay, any other question? What I would do is to share the output for each of these. I believe they are shareable. I'll just copy the link. For example, I'll show you the one from ChatGPT. You can then look at it and tell me what you think. And Claude and all the others. Please feel free to drop your questions. Yes, we'll try to make the replays available, even though part of what we are trying to do is create resources for our community, our students in our community. We've gotten lots of requests around AI training. This is going into part of our curriculum to explain how all of this work and how they can integrate AI in their work. But I think we would put out something on YouTube. For Claude, I'm not able to share a link, but let me show you Gemini. Let me show you what it looks like. Gemini, this is what the report is looking like. It has the executive summary. One thing I need you to also look at is the latter part of the report where it has all the links and all the sources. And what it did was to, okay, so migration and best practices or, okay, key implementation risk. It give me a stakeholder alignment, future state, cloud migration. It took into consideration the information I provided. Let's see, StarRes, it listed Simplicity Residency, Mercury Housing. See, all these links help me to deeper reviews and apply my judgment before you are just searching until you find you lack direction. I would share the link, but let's quickly finish our presentation for today. So that was me showing you how, if you don't use custom GPT, no problem. We built a prompt you can use on any of the tools. There's this part I want to touch on before we go today. All you need to do again, copy your prompt. Remember, the tool is to help you build your prompt, not do the research. Copy it, paste it in your AI to activate the deep research and allow it to do the work for you. We've done the demo. So the last part is where you now due diligence, where you use AI responsibly. Review, verify, refine. AI has helped you do your research. Would you run off to send it out to stakeholders that way. I wouldn't. You have to review the output, verify it. Remember when we gave you the prompt, we told it to return links and citation sources. So you need to do your due diligence, apply your judgment, make your recommendation, take the information that is needed, refine it, summarize it. So don't forget to review, verify, and then refine your output. AI has done 80% of the job, the heavy lifting. Make sure you do the 20% of the work and give it a good finish. So I hope I've showed you today how to use AI to do deep research, or I've showed you the deep research functionality for those that did not know that it did exist. I've not used it on Copilot, but I know Copilot does have that. I don't have the access right yet, but I think another webinar we could do is using it on Copilot. But if you don't have the deep research feature on Copilot at work, the meta prompt that I shared with you will come in very handy for you. So please, if we will share this online, we'll put it on YouTube. Feel free to share with someone that needs it. Tell them about Pollard Consult and what we do. We really appreciate that. I have 2 more minutes, so I just want to quickly tell you about some of our upcoming programs. If you're interested in change management, Marsha and her team, they have a Ask Me Anything session coming on later this week. So if you're interested, I will share links to that for you. And then I talked about our career business analysis career development program. If you are looking to pivot into business analysis or even change management, we are here to support you. So here are some other links that you may find useful. Yep, and that should bring me to the end of the presentation, unless you have any other question. Thank you so much. Any question? Will the prompt be shared? Yes, Deepa, I've shared the prompt. Let me share the link again. It's in this document. So it is in a PDF document. All you need to do, open the link and download it. Here is the document again. Feel free to download it. Let me see if there's any other question. I think I've answered your question. I will try and put it on YouTube. Can one upload recorded audio on this AI to get this work done? One thing I don't know about audios, I've not tried that, but I know transcripts. I upload a lot of transcripts.
That's exactly what I mean.
Transcripts?
Can you hear me? Yes. Can we just upload the transcript and ask for a transcript, and then we turn it to whatever we want to use it for?
Yes. Depending, maybe you just came out of an interview where you were asking the question, trying to understand the business process, what they are trying to work on. You had permission from your stakeholders to record. No confidential information. Yeah, you can use it. At work, I use Copilot. It's secured within my organization. It's okay to download transcripts from our Teams meetings and put it on Copilot and use it, extract other information I may have missed during the conversation. I've not been able to upload audios, but the transcribed version of my audios, I'm able to upload it on Copilot at work, even on my personal, maybe ChatGPT or any other thing that is possible. Let's see. You're welcome. Any other questions? If you don't have any questions, thank you for joining us today. If you please can share in the chat, what did you learn today? What are you taking away today? And what are you looking to learn maybe in the future? Because we plan to do more at least once a month, identify one use case in business analysis or project management and come up with a training or a webinar around it. So please let us know, what are you curious to do with AI in your work? Maybe that would inform our next training, our next webinar. But please share, what did you learn today? What are you taking away from this session? What is one thing you are going to do differently? What is that one thing you learned today? Okay. You've been typing away. You're spending a lot of time typing.
I'm definitely going to start using it. It's very useful. So thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Awesome.
Yes. And the Felix prompt too, I think it will be very handy versus having to think about trying to make my prompt be the best to get the best output. Thank you for sharing.
Let's take away all the barriers and just get on with our work. That's what I do with AI. Like, okay, this thing is taking me too much time and stressing me. How can I make it faster? AI prompt engineering. Okay, we have a video on YouTube, and visit our YouTube channel. We've done that last year. It was over an hour. Please, how can I catch up? I will share the replays. We'll put it on YouTube. So please look out for it. And if you're on our mailing list, we would also communicate via email. By Tuesday latest, you'll be available on YouTube for you to catch up. Thank you everyone for joining. Thanks for spending your afternoon with me. I have to run now. Be on the lookout for our next AI webinar, Come Learning. If you get our emails, you can respond and tell us what you're looking to learn, and we would incorporate it. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.